Okay, I'm continuing with the last movement of the Schumann Quintet. After 16, which may or may not be P, it might be O. I will have to check tonight about those rehearsal numbers. I should have written them all in, but I didn't. I didn't think of the fact that they're good reference numbers when I'm talking to you, because they're essential reference numbers when I'm trying to find my place in rehearsal. But if any of you are following along on the score, it's useful to be able to find our mutual place. So, I feel good about my strategy. This is obviously going to be one of those places that needs reinforcement. Turn my hand, because it's these series of descending sixths and fifths, which are just the triad outlines, because they span a tenth or 12th. Obviously, it can't be just under one hand position. So, do I move here? I think, for now, I'm going to go to 4 on the E flat here in the right hand, just because it's safer than going to 5th. Even though 5th would get me my root position and finish the deal, I like the sensation of going to the black note 4th better. Then I'm going to move. So I'm going to move to 2 in the left and to 3 in the right. And I'm going to visually isolate them. Okay, here, because I have a 7th chord, I have an extra note to deal with. So that actually makes it easier. It's 2 hand groups, so it's 5, 5, 2, 3, 1, 5, 2, 3. That's where I put 4th finger to get E flat. I may as well tell myself that I'm changing my hand position. Another small issue is when I'm playing these little throws in the left hand, for example, a little scalar B flat, C, D flat. I'm way out of position right here to reach the G. So I can't afford to relate this to that. I've got to feel that this is, in essence, a completed project. In other words, I get to the D flat, then I play the other notes. That's really important. If it looks as if the linkage is prescribed, but it isn't, it may be prescribed musically that these notes belong to one another. They sure don't belong to one another physically. And that's an important aspect of problem solving. The other slightly idiosyncratic thing I'm going to do is, in my left hand, I'm going to go 1-4 from F to B flat. Because I grab that so much more easily than I would grab 3rd finger. So that, good. Again, I'm going to use a fingering that suits me, which is E flat, and then 3rd finger on B flat, rather than 2. If I go 5, 2, 3, I have to turn my hand over more. I have to keep my hand much more casual. My arm may move my hand differently, but it's just to reduce tension. fancy, in other words, and turn my hand over. I don't need it. I need a feeling of simplicity. Comes the real fugue. Luckily, there's not as many notes as there were in the little fugato. So. Okay, I've written out what looks like intelligent fingerings, but they're not recent enough for me to have them stick yet. Don't know what I meant in the left hand, so left going to right, 4-2. Okay, to get my left hand in the habit of turning over, because I chose a turning over fingering here. It's not nearly as significant for these three notes that stop, but by going 3-1-2, I get my fourth ready, and I also get that feeling of turning around ready. I've written 2-1 here. That's quite an interesting thing. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. 3-1 in the C flat statements. Let's see. I think there's too much insecurity in moving down that octave without looking at it and thinking about it a lot, and I know under pressure I don't know that I want to think that much. So I'm going to reinstate the more obvious fifth finger and see. Yeah, see, I can still make that leap more comfortably and then make my arm move to place the thumb on C. So, or if I wanted to, I could come out to 2. That would set up the 3 on B flat. Kind of like that. So, draw a line to indicate this gives me my hand position. Another one. Nice. Like it. Okay. That's nicely under the hand. So. Notated what I was using there. It's a toss-up between 3-2-1 on E flat, arpeggio, and 4-2-1. I'm tending towards fourth. pick those 3 ones. Okay, let's see. That was pretty reasonable on the continuation. Let's see if it was luck. Just a reminder that 2 works really well on this B flat, so having it there graphically represented. Yeah. Nice. So, 3rd finger in the right hand, so just so I don't worry about getting ready for the next ascent, because if I finish off with the finger that's right under my hand, then I can move my hand to the ascending 4-note scale. So, I have to decide this B flat could be played by either hand. So I'm going to have it played by the right hand, and I'm going to leave it out in the left hand, which will change what my left hand needs to deal with. I can go 3-1 or 2-1, but the point is I can go to 1, finish my hand group off. So. Myself of the fingering I chose in my left hand before. Yeah, you know what? Going to 3 early in my right hand here gets me ready. No reason not to be ready. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1 for this little scale in the left hand. I should have remembered, but I didn't. So left hand, I have to remind myself to go not just 4, but to go 2 afterwards. So. Since I already felt I solved it there, and I didn't remember it, I'm going to write down the fingering I had chosen. What an idea! Including the 2 here. The difference being when I get to the next measure, I have to hold on to these. Now, I'm not sure yet. There's going to be thematic material here. So B flat for sure in the bass. A flat is written also in the left hand thumb note. That doesn't mean that's where I'll play it. But you know what? That is where I'll play it because I've got a 2nd in the right hand otherwise. B flat. That's a lot harder to discriminate, to bring out that A flat in the right hand than it would be to play it with the thumb of the left hand, where it's got plenty of momentum behind it, and then release the D. So. Having said that, I may not even use the thumb, because if I stick with the fingering I had before in the left hand for this figure. Went up on 3, and for a moment I thought I'd run out of fingers. But I won't. I can go really powerfully. 3, 2 in the left hand, and then just toss my hand over to 2, 5. So that's why I mentioned I was negotiating having a nice strong thumb, but in a way it's even stronger to have that comfortable hand position. A tritone in the left hand, second finger black note. How nice. So, got to remind myself what I already know. 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. Oops, wrong one, hell. There we go. So, just looking ahead. Nice. This texture is easier because the left hand is doing exclusively half notes and the right hand is doing all the playing around. But of course, the hands are interacting with one another in crazy ways. I have written here 3. I see why. I have written it very faintly, so I did it. Now I'll write it more boldly, and I can still erase it. I'm going to go to 2, thence to thumb. It's just easy to flip my hand to a longer finger on the black note. For thence to thumb. I may have used a poetic construction that doesn't make it more convincing. My hands are in one another's way. So I have to be a little out of the way. That means a longer finger is probably better than the thumb. The thumb brings me too close to the keyboard. If I use 2 again. I have to make sure to provide enough intensity on the downbeat D here, because it's going to be reiterated by my right hand in a different roll. So if it doesn't have enough ping, it won't sound like a subject note. So for those of you who don't know this piece, that's one of the famous things about it, is this view, that Schumann is pulling out all the stops. so I can turn my hand. Then I should get down to 2 on F sharp, which it's under my hand. So. Okay, this doesn't feel that problematical, but it's unfamiliar still, so I've got to make it familiar. Get off. I've got to remind myself physically, I've got to get off the D that's going to be replayed. Before 20 or whatever you call it, 2019, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a G minor first inversion chord. I'm going to CF. I'm going to go to 2, 5. I could go to 4, 1. But I get to come from the black note thumb and hang back off the white notes if I use 2, 5, which I like a lot. And then I can move on. So. Naturally, in the right hand, left hand, 5, down to 5, and suddenly I had this A flat to confront. Ideally, I would have 4th finger on the bottom C, then I'd have a 4-note ascent, and I could turn over easily. Brilliant idea. I'm just going to go to 4th finger on the leap of the octave. These half notes are non-legato anyway, so I will want to shift my attention to my left hand to make sure I negotiate that leap. Double thumb in the left hand, in the right hand, that is. So I'm marking an indicator that the first thumb belongs to this chord. The second one belongs to that ascending line. It makes it easier to execute. It's also conceptually easier to understand and quite probably interpretively most convincing. That's a win-win-win. I want 1 and the E approaching that so I can get a nice delicious 1-4 on the white-black combination. Well, and how can I do that? I can do it much earlier, 3 notes earlier, shifting my hand here. Start with 2-1 at the bottom. I didn't mean it. I'm going to start with 2, but not 2-1. 2-3. There we go. Because here it's suddenly simpler, it's a simple line, there's not anything else going on other than a bunch of reiterated B flats. I've got to be careful not to be too arbitrary in my fingering. So I'm going to notate what works, even if it's obvious. 4, 2, 1, 1, 1. Fair number of hand turns because I'm relying mostly on my strong fingers. My 1, 2s, and 3s. 4. Shift to 2. Is if I end up on thumb on, say, this D diminished chord, actually, the top 3/4 of a B flat 7, going 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not horrible. It just feels funny. So I'm going to go to thumb instead, which means I want to finish off my gesture preceding that. So I just stick with where I am. That works just nicely. Stick with 4th. One of those instances, I'm not going to pay any attention to Schumann's durational indication. This G whole note followed by this. I don't want to do that. I don't think anyone wants to. So I'll let my pedal help out my imagination. I think it's there, therefore it's there. I think Descartes would approve. Descartes. Okay, a little awkward. Again, I've got to shift my hand. I also can't hold on in the way Schumann indicates. So I have sure not to be silly. I could grab this chord with the 3rd finger, but it gains me nothing. So I'm going to make sure I use 2nd. And then with my thumb. Before. Black, white, or white, black. Choreography. Go. So you don't have to play staring at the keys. Which one is? I have to make sure for accuracy. Be aware of the angle of my hand. Okay. This is where we have a recurrence of this figure that I started earlier today. Now, there's no reason for me not to rewrite the fingering. I know I could trust myself ultimately to remember it, but when time is of the essence, every aid you have, every learning aid you have, you should put in. So I've got 4, I've got 1, I've got 1, I've got 1. 1, 1, 1. And then I'm going to not cheat, I'm going to save time because I see that rewriting what I've already done makes a whole lot more sense than rethinking the whole thing. So, of course, I have to be absolutely sure that I've done it right. So, I shift for the same chord the next time. It goes to 5, then 4 on A flat. I will mull out loud so you can ponder it with me. The finger and second finger. I don't even know if I'll need all these lines, but that's not important. What is important is I needed them before, and so it's useful to have them now. For 1. If you get bored with your own process, you run the risk of taking shortcuts that you'll pay for in the end. So I've experienced that too many times not to consider what I'm saying is true. So I have written some basic fingering solutions. I think they should serve. Yeah, so if you'll recall, this is all about casting my attention to the left hand, and keeping the right hand simple with recurrent fingering. And then I start over again, second finger. Review this section. This is not the time, this is just a reminder. That's not the same as a review. And I forgot all about the delicious ties, which are so useful. Delicious. Just the fact that I missed that chord is reason enough to circle it. First of all, it's easy to miss notes. It's all E flat arpeggio. It's very exposed. It's at the end of the piece. So it's really important to have a strategy that makes it dependable. First thing to note is that the left hand is the left hand has the standard E flat arpeggio fingering. one change of direction in the middle of the descent, in other words. There's nothing hard about it. It's right under the hand. Here I might shift. That's what I think is needed. I'm starting off with 4 and 2, so I can get my thumb to the G, the only white note. Go to 5-3, not 4-2, but 5-3 up here. It concludes that octave worth. Again, I'm going to open my hand up to 5-3 on the top. And I'm going to shift 1-2. So. I could go 1-2, and then 1-2 again, but I like the feeling of having my hand at ease to begin this ascent. I think I need to remember to look there, because it's just so much easier. Okay, break time.